of truth for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome. You're listening to Radio Free New York. Thanks for joining us today. We are live this episode. I know we've done a lot of pre-recorded episodes this week, but we're streaming live today. So if you want to chime in and join the conversation this afternoon, send us a message, either contact at radiofreenewyork.com or comment on YouTube or comment on Facebook, any of those things. So I also have Sean with me here. We're broadcasting from, for those of you who are watching it on social media, we're broadcasting from the Liberty Closet today.
Yes, the Liberty Closet. Yes, the remote Liberty Closet.
Yep. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. We have a few different things coming up.
But we got Fake News Friday.
It is, of course, Fake News Friday. Yeah. So we'll end the show with some fake news items. I hope you came prepared, Sean. Got some fake news?
Florida man.
Oh, Florida man. Oh, Florida man. All right, man. All right, so, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there. But one of the things that caught my attention this morning was this story coming out of Oregon. And I see it coming up a lot in memes occasionally, right? It's about self-checkout, right? So you ever go to, if you're from Western New York, you go to Wegmans probably, right? At least sometimes.
Oh, you got to go to Wegmans.
And you got to go to Wegmans. And you see the self-checkout lines. Now there's like 10 of them at the East Ave Wegmans that I go to. And a lot of people really don't like them. Like I see memes on Facebook where people are saying like, I don't want to have to work for you. I don't want to have to do this myself. It hurts jobs. All that types of stuff. So people are acting on this, though. So people are starting to say, maybe we should ban these things.
Yeah, I remember when they first started appearing and people were like, don't use them, protest them, they're taking jobs away from people. And I mean, six of one, half dozen of another at that point. It's, the company's trying to meet convenience to the customer, yet cut their overhead costs, and yeah, it may cost a cashier or two or three a job, but I don't know. That's kind of a tough call.
Sometimes, I mean, you see a lot of these things popping up everywhere too. You see it in fast food places as well. You start to see the kiosks, like you go in instead of going up to a cashier, you're going up to a little kiosk and pressing the orders for your food. And
the one at Taco Bell, I've used it once.
Yeah.
Oh my! You can they give you suggestions of like, oh, well, you want a taco? Oh, do you want sour cream, guacamole, salsa verde? Yeah, and it's
they got train employees.
And they give you a whole list of stuff that I didn't even know was available. I'm like, oh, I could put potatoes on a taco. I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah,
that appeals to the Irish side of me.
No, so apparently there's this initiative filed in Oregon by the AFL-CIO and a kind of coalition of labor groups out in Oregon to ban these things, and it's been held up in court for a while, but I guess the court has decided that it can move forward. So I was almost hoping you'd be on the other side of this so we could debate it, but it's all right.
No, I can, because I think maybe legislating that you could only have two.
Oh, but why though?
Because then you're still ensuring that a cashier has a job.
No, I don't think there should be any requirement to insure a number of jobs.
No, but the government has to tell us what to do.
Oh, see, now you're just being sarcastic.
Really? Am I?
So, yeah, with this type of things, I kind of like self-checkout, and that's
I do too. I use it all the time.
Yeah,
I'm guilty.
I've been told that it's a very millennial thing to like self-checkout, and I've told that actually as part of the the lawsuit, or as at least the justification for it, it said that it makes customers feel socially isolated, particularly elderly people. They said that the people who are older feel devalued and kind of disconnected from the stores because they're no longer kind of communicating with a person. They're just interacting with a machine. But again, to me as a millennial, I don't I have so much technology. I want to talk to people.
Well, who are the old people going to blame when the order's wrong?
That's true. I don't know if you guys have seen Sean. Sean's not a millennial. You're at least a Gen Xer, right?
No, I'm born in '67, man. I'm like boomer.
You're basically a boomer, yeah. God,
yeah.
you're only 3 years younger than my dad.
Yeah, I'm old, man. I'm old.
But anyway, like I kind of like the idea. Most of the time, like sometimes I don't want to talk to people. I want to go in, scan my item. I pay with my phone. I got like the one of those things where I just hold up my phone to it and it just pays it, nice and easy.
I haven't done that.
You haven't done that one yet?
No. I'm boomering. I got a little. That's a little too much for me.
That's a little too much. That's more secure.
Yeah. I still got to pay cash for a lot of things, and I only pay card over like a very secure internet network, and that's it.
Garrett says that you're a boomer. That's it. Thank you, Garrett,
thanks,
from
Garrett.
YouTube.
You're
And
right.
thank you, everyone who's joined us today.
Can we
I see
block
Drew
Garrett
and I see
now?
William on there. So thanks everyone for joining us today. But yeah, I mean, you had started to make the argument anyway about whether or not there should be some provision to keep jobs, and that's a legitimate argument coming from like the AFL-CIO and a bunch of other people. It's like why should we allow companies to implement these technologies that are meant to eliminate jobs? I mean, quite frankly, a lot of this is in response to raising minimum wage too.
Right.
Because that's
Absolutely.
what a lot of it is it becomes more expensive to employ workers. So then the costs of the automated systems become more attractive because you don't have to keep paying them consistently. You make one initial capital investment, and then that's it.
Well, here's my thing on this. My argument is simply that you may have cost a cashier a job by installing one of these machines in, but you've also created a technician's job because he's going to have to maintain that machine.
Yeah, and with a lot of these stores, I'd imagine, I don't know how the workforce of like Wegmans or any of these other stores works, but with some of them, they might just have more resources available to specialize in other areas. You get a lot of these grocery stores that end up having like the prepared food section, and they're able to invest more in that, or they're able to invest more in like specialty meats and cheeses. They're able to hire more employees in these other areas, and not just kind of these cashier jobs that tend to be low skilled and low paid anyway.
Right, and the hours usually stink. They don't give them full time work. No benefits, stuff like that. But I want to address the elderly issue that was brought up here, and that in the fact that I think going to a store and having it all electronic machines would be not a smart idea.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that there's elderly people that still prefer to deal with another human being, and with like Alzheimer's, dementia, hitting people nowadays more and more it seems. They may need the assistance of a person to help them, because they go to the the electronic checkout line and they just can't seem to scan the pet dragon they found.
Yeah, right. But I mean, a lot of times they do have someone there.
You're
right?
gonna let the pet dragon comment slide?
Whatever it is.
Whatever they're hallucinating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there usually is someone there to assist you in those cases. The only time, most of the time I will go to self checkout. The only time I don't is when I'm buying alcohol, because it ends up becoming more of a pain in the butt to buy alcohol at the self checkouts, because then they've got to call someone over who's usually helping someone else and check your ID and do all that stuff. So like they don't have a system where you can just like scan it. Yeah. I mean, I get why they wouldn't do that, because then if you got a fake ID, right, you just scan it. That's fine. And
the facial recognition technology nowadays, there's always a camera right there in your face.
That's true. That might be part of the future, right?
Oh no, Big Brother just got another idea.
But for the most part, I don't really think that it makes sense to ban these types of technologies, right? Because again, I think like it doesn't eliminate jobs in on net. I think on net that you end up getting supermarkets who are either able to pass along the savings, or supermarkets at any other service or product, they can pass along the savings to the consumers themselves, or they can reinvest the savings from the workers and or reassign them to other areas and worry about quality control in like the produce department.
I'm sorry, I just kind of blacked out for a second when you said pass the savings on to consumers.
Yeah.
No business does that.
No,
They just
absolutely
increase
they
their
do.
profit margins.
No, no, that's what they do all the time. They lower the prices so they're able to be more competitive.
But see, there's two things on this. One, I feel that the elderly may actually start attending more mom and pop shops because of that, and so that could like actually
Alright.
backfire on them.
All right, I think we're coming up on a break now. We'll be back on Radio Free New York in just a few minutes.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whenever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we're better together, and together, we're moving business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today.
Tom Walls started in 1955. Since then, America has been through wars, natural disasters, and economic highs and lows. Rochester companies have had their ups and downs, but one constant, Tom Walls. Tom Walls has stood the test of time. A Wahlburger and a frosted mug of root beer on a sunny afternoon brings us closer to our past and reminds us of what is good. My name is Riley. I am Tom Walls.
Share the good times. Tom Walls.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping
Last spot?
goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years.
You're welcome.
Have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. Thanks again for listening today. I'm Kevin Wilson in studio with Sean Phelan, Agent of Chaos.
Chaos, yes.
Yeah. Like that nickname I gave you?
Actually, I really do.
Oh, good. Glad you appreciate it. Start using it, start throwing it at you.
I should come with warning labels.
No, you did. It's a fact. So we did get a couple more comments on that from Garrett, who asked about are the numbers on shoplifting correlated with self checkout, which is that's a fair question. That's interesting.
I'd like to address something that Garrett put up here.
Well, what was that?
Are there numbers on shoplifting correlated with the self checkout?
Well, that's what I just asked.
Well, here's the thing. I took a student of mine when I taught GED
Yeah.
who's from the inner city, and she's actually from the Bronx originally. And I took her to the Brighton Tops, which is in a very affluent neighborhood in Rochester.
Uh-huh.
And they had the self checkout.
Yeah.
She'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
She was absolutely dumbfounded, shocked, standing there with her mouth agape, going, "Why aren't people just running out of the store right now? Why aren't people just running out with stuff?"
That's
And I'm like,
interesting.
because it's not worth the effort being filmed and now wanted by the police. And she literally stood there for a good like 10 minutes waiting for somebody to just run through the checkout.
Yeah. No, I mean most people I think aren't going to do that because they're like, well, I could get caught. I have a moral objection to stealing. One of those things. Most people I think are good and they're going to pay for their stuff at least on purpose. you
Right.
know,
Well,
or,
she's
like,
used
they're
to-
not going to.
She's used to tops in the hood, so that's, like you got to go through like, 3 different levels of security and, some barbed wire to get your groceries out.
But yeah, no, a few other comments in there about freeing up personnel for other things like security too. So that's another thing. You could-
How about
you could beef
even
up
just
more security or
I see they say
service
customer
and-
service, but how about like stocking and, oh God forbid, assisting customers in finding product.
You want people talking to you while you're shopping?
No, I mean, like, I'll go up to somebody who's stocking a shelf and I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, hey, where's the peanuts?" And they'd be like, "I really don't know."
I know. I've usually had pretty good luck if I can't find something, someone helps me out. But at least at the places where I shop. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't quite understand your comment, Drew, about next they will want us to stand on the side of the road holding a cup while they throw us rice. Self checkout.
Yeah, I guess that's, I don't know, some socialistic.
Well, I don't know,
things
man.
there, I don't know.
Like to me, the future is like I don't even need to go to a store, right? Like I just use like what's a Instacart, right? I mean that's how how we order food at the office, right? We don't go shopping for like food that we stock our office with coffee and all that stuff. We just order it in Instacart, and then someone goes to Wegmans and picks it up for us and delivers it to our door, and we pay a small fee for that, but it saves us some time and.
Yeah.
That to me is the future, and that's another way where like more jobs are being created in a sense, and I know it'll be interesting, not to shift topics totally, but Governor Cuomo's budget proposal includes like more protections for gig workers, which would include people like that. But the only problem is that a lot of times it's the government is trying to define these people, these contractors as employees, but a lot of them aren't, right? It's more like, all right, I got like 3 hours on this Thursday to be able to do something, so I'm gonna turn on Instacart app and see if I get a few jobs, or I'm gonna turn on the Uber app and see if I get a few jobs. And the governor's trying to treat them like employees. Now I haven't dove into the details of this yet, so I need to look in more. But if it ends up anything like what the California gig worker protection bills are, then it'll end up being disastrous because that ended up a big mess, especially for for kind of smaller contractors like writers. It ended up being really bad because a lot of these companies. Have you not heard anything about this?
No.
You guys can't see it on camera if you're on radio, but Sean's giving me, or even if you're not, but Sean's giving me a confused look.
Yeah,
But-
and I'm like wondering, what's the end result? Do they like give them unemployment benefits or?
It would be things like they would be forced to give them these otherwise contractors health care or different benefits or unemployment benefits and things like that. Even though they're what the reality is that a lot of times they're not actually employees, and they don't really want to be treated like employees. Most people want to treat this as like a small side hustle to get money to help pay the bills, or sometimes drinking money or vacation money or
Drinking money.
yeah, I mean, it's people have different reasons for doing this, right? And as an employee, you're under more obligations to like meet a schedule, right? Like you're expected, okay, you got to show up and serve these customers at this time. If you're a contractor, you're kind of independent contractor, you're kind of working on your own, doing your own thing.
Right.
William says that there's a supervisor that deters people from stealing, so it's not that much different from a cashier, which I think he's talking about, like where you have all the self checkout places.
Right.
You use usually one person who's kind of monitoring like 6 to 10 of those at a time. I think you've seen.
I just wonder how many people just like go with the fake scan. Like the They just go across the machine and just like, yeah, you know.
I have no idea. I mean,
One thing I was surprised about the self checkouts, and I noticed right away, is that when you scan something, it knows how much it weighs. So when you put
When
it
you
in the
set it down.
bag, it knows that that's now in your bag. You know,
Yeah.
and even because that's a scale that's next to there, not just a metal plate that's holding your bags up.
Yeah, but I mean, with a lot of these things, I'm embracing technology whenever possible, because again, I like the idea of like I could order something from Amazon or whatever, and it
Mhm.
can show up maybe someday via drone, right to my doorstep, within hours or a day. I mean, like I ordered this like connection, this little headphone splitter
Right.
for our show here,
Right.
and I ordered it, and what it was like 18 hours later showed up at my door. Amazing.
Right, but I mean, like when
Didn't
the
have to go
drone's
anywhere.
delivering it, and if it's delivering it at night, you know, are you going to get in trouble for stargazing without a permit?
Yeah, I I do want to talk about that. Do you want to talk about that one now?
Whatever,
We
man.
talked about that one
That was
now.
a ridiculous segue.
Yeah, that was, and we only have a few minutes left of the segment, so I don't know if I want. We'll talk about it in the next.
We'll
Talk about it in the next
segment.
segment because we have that. I want to.
But fundamentally, I said something off the air regarding this cashierless automated machines. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture. Why is government telling a business how to run it?
No, and they shouldn't be. The businesses should be free to make their own innovations and do what they want, and as long as they're not committing force or fraud or any of that stuff, they should be able to run their business. I mean, I think we're both on the same page about that. But
Yeah.
you're right, though. That point needs to be made. It's the government shouldn't really have a right to interfere in that process, and that's exactly what this proposal out in Oregon intends to do. It will get the government to force these stores to be able to stop innovating in this way that cuts down on overhead and again provides a better service in some cases for customers.
You know, it makes me wonder, like, what's their provisions of, like, what's a store worthy of it? You know, it's like, is Walmart, Lowe's, you know, Home Depot, those kind of places, you know, or does it get down into smaller, you know, areas like the mom and pop shops, you know?
I mean, that's a good question too. Yeah, it's like, is it only stores over a certain size who can have their self checkouts limited, or well, I mean, again, speaking of technology, the like the is it Amazon or Whole Food stores? Well, it's kind of the same thing now, where you're gonna be able to just like walk in, grab stuff off the shelf, and walk out without like even scanning anything out. It just like checks it out automatically.
It scans it. I've seen there's an Aldi's in Germany, I believe it is, that does that.
Neat.
Yeah.
I would love for my local
Which
Aldi
is
to
so
do that.
weird. Everything's closed in Germany on Sunday.
It is weird. Yeah, it's always closed at Sunday and early in the evening too.
Yeah,
Well, it's like a European thing,
so
right? Like
bizarre.
it's an American thing. Like I consider it now my right as American to be able to go to Walmart at like 2 a.m. and buy a rotisserie chicken
On a Sunday.
on a Sunday. No, that's terrible, but it is what I used to do in high school because there was nothing better to do. So that's what we did. We'd stay up late and we weren't drinking.
We'd
And-
make a run to Jack in a Box.
Yeah.
Now I'm dating.
I mean,
myself.
Taco Bell was also the other option too. But again, you know, now I don't even need to leave my house to get that. I can do Grubhub or whatever and just punch it into my phone. And if you order over a certain amount, I think it's free for some of these places. And they're like, man, that's a good deal.
I'm a boomer, man. I just never used it.
No, it's worth trying. I mean, and again, it helps with like safety as well.
I also don't do drive-throughs.
All right, I think we'll run out of time. We're up on our next break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Now, more than twice the power.
WYSL.
More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have cloudy conditions out there. Could be a shower or two, but any steadier rain will hold off until overnight and Saturday morning in the 30s. On your Saturday, plenty of rain at times, off and on through the morning into the afternoon. Temperatures in the 30s and 40s. Rain will mix with change to a bit of wet snow Saturday night into Sunday. I'm Rich Canilia on WYSL.
This is Dom Genova, owner of Genesee Valley Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Avon, your no-nonsense car dealer. Factory figures show that Genesee Valley was the number 2 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer in Rochester in new vehicle sales last month. Number 2. Think of all those guys promising to give you thousands more than your trade is worth, sending you fake keys in the mail, all the hype and the yelling. And we were number 2 in sales in Rochester in our quiet, no-nonsense way. You know why I'm laughing? Genesee Valley Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is not even in Rochester. We're in Avon. Educated consumers simply took the short trip down 390 to exit 10 and got a money-saving, no-nonsense deal from a non-commissioned salesperson and all the factory rebates they deserve. Like the Start Something New rebates we have this month. Take the short trip for a big difference.
Genesee Valley.
Exit 10, Route 390 in Avon.
GeneseeValley.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Trends are moving local, from sourcing local farms to shopping small businesses. So why are you still with that big, cold, nationwide bank? St. Pius Federal Credit Union is inviting you back home. And coming home shouldn't mean sacrificing the services you want. St. Pius Credit Union offers state-of-the-art online banking, a mobile app, low fees, competitive rates, with access to dozens of fee-free ATMs. Let us show you how easy coming home can be at spxfcu.org. St. Pius Federal Credit Union.
Can you hear that? No, in your mind. Can you hear the sound of your cheeseburger as it hits the grill?
Tom Wall's team member Camden Arlucas talks imagination.
Do you see the melted cheese drip down on the plate as you take your first bite? That, right there, the snap that a crispy hot French fry makes as you bite into it. I want to cook you the award-winning, hottest, juiciest Tom Wall's cheeseburger you've ever had.
Share the good times. Tom Walls.
Gentle, friendly, and caring. Those are the qualities that our patients say about Liberty Dental. We cater to our patients because they are like family. At Liberty Dental, you can have cleanings, fillings, and even implants without having to leave the office. All your dental needs under one roof. Just imagine that you can have your ortho and your dentures in one place. No need to go anywhere else. Call 434-2090 to schedule your dental visit. New patients always welcome. Most insurances are accepted. And emergencies are seen same day. Liberty Dental, next to Ridgemont Wegmans.
Whether you plant it, milk it, raise it, or harvest it, make your way to Buffalo for the Western New York Farm Show, January 30th through February 1st at the Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York. Free and open to the public, the region's largest agriculture, trade, and lifestyle show. Don't miss the second annual Lumberjack Classic on Saturday, featuring timber sport competitors chopping, sawing, and cutting their way to victory. The Western New York Farm Show, January 30th to February 1st, Thruway exit 56, just south of Buffalo. Visit WNYFarmShow.com.
Quinn in the morning.
What a real woman. Last spot. A real woman is a man's best friend. She will never stand him up and never let it. You're welcome. Real reassure him when he feels insecure, and comfort him after a bad day. She will inspire him to do things he never thought he could do. She will make sure he always feels as though he is the most handsome man, and will enable him to be confident, sexy, seductive, and invincible. Oh, wait a minute. No, wait. I'm sorry. I was thinking about beer.
WYSL, the home of Quinn in the Morning. Radio Free New York.
Okay, welcome back. You're listening to Radio Free New York, and it's Kevin Wilson in studio. Well, not in studio, in our Liberty Closet today from our remote studio. Yeah, and Sean Phelan, Agent of Chaos.
Yep.
Also in here in the Liberty Closet. And yeah, we were talking about self-checkout stuff last segment, but we're going to shift topics to something a little bit heavier. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about the Doomsday Clock. So that just shifted over, and now it's at 100 seconds to midnight.
It's within 100 seconds. So, minute and a half.
Yeah, about a minute and a half to midnight. So, and for those who've never heard of the Doomsday Clock, what it is it's a just kind of a it's a representation of how close this what's it called, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. Let's make sure I got the name right. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. How close they feel that we are to Armageddon. How close we are to humanity destroying itself.
Total thermonuclear war.
Yeah, and so it was created from some of the scientists who were originally part of the Manhattan Project, and they created this to kind of like indicate to people where we were in terms of how close, again, mostly the U.S. and Russia were to blowing each other up.
And for those of you that are aware of the Manhattan Project.
Oh, right, that's the project that created the atomic bomb.
Yes.
That's it. There we go. Yeah, thank you, Sean, for making sure I provide context.
Yes.
So this this clock has been in place basically since the end of World War II. In 1953 was the only time it has been set within 2 minutes to midnight, and that was when the U.S. invented and tested the hydrogen bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So in all of the 70 years that this thing has been going on, there's only been a couple of times when it's been within 2 minutes to midnight, and one of those is now.
And even with the Cold War in the 60s, with Russia and, Khrushchev pulling his shoe off and smacking the podium in that speech. And, even then it wasn't as high as it is now.
Man, I swear, I'm reading an article from NPR about it right now, but I swear it was closer in, after the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, I thought so too, but...
Yeah, but apparently it's not. So we are apparently in the most dangerous time since the escalation of the nuclear arms race in the 1950s.
It's worrisome because I want to know what they know that we don't.
Well, they did list a few things, and I'm going to go into this saying that I don't actually agree with this assessment. I don't think that, and I've said this on the show before, I'm generally optimistic about the state of the world. I think for the most part, globalization has been a good thing that is building new connections among people. I think there's some dangerous trends out there, but overall people are in less poverty. They are economically interdependent, so there's less incentive for most nations to go to war with one another. I think there's some trends that are heading in some dangerous directions, but I think that we are definitely not in as dangerous of a situation as we were in the 1950s or the 60s or the 70s or the 80s. I think that we are in a much better situation, probably even better than the 1990s, that when the atomic clock was furthest away from midnight, it was 17 minutes away from midnight after the Soviet Union collapsed. Because even then, it's still worried, Russia's still nuclear power, it's just an unstable one.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah.
So...
I'd say we're pretty unstable right now too.
So, so I'll tell you the things that are causing it to move forward. First of all, maybe this has something to do with it, maybe it doesn't. But the new head of the new executive chairman of the Bulletin is former California Democrat Governor Jerry Brown. So I can't help but wonder if there's a little bit of partisanship to this.
That guy's like herpes. He just keeps coming around every few years.
Yeah.
He never goes away.
Yeah, so he's been around forever. Been in politics for decades. It's so funny when you see some of these people throughout history, you're like, wow, how are they still around? How are they still doing stuff?
I mean, Jello Biafra wrote about him in a song back in 1982.
Yeah. I know. What? No. What wasn't he?
It's Dead Kennedys.
Yeah, Dead Kennedys. Yeah, I'm
Joe
thinking like.
Biafra is the singer, I think.
Yeah. What was the song? Oh no.
California Uber Alice.
Yeah, California Uber
I'm
Alice.
so
That's the one.
old. I'm so
Yeah.
old.
No. I was like, I had heard that song the other day. I was like, oh my god, it's about Jerry Brown.
Yeah.
The guy's still hanging out. So a couple of things that caused it to move forward though was the August 2019 collapse of the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty between the U.S. and Russia. So that was a pact that frees both nations to deploy land-based missiles over ranges that leave little time to response. So basically, these countries, U.S. and Russia, couldn't place land-based missiles close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that treaty collapsed and is no longer enforced. Both sides are blaming each other for the collapse of the treaty. So it's kind of hard to say what it is. So they said that was one of the reasons why they're moving forward there. There's also apparently growing signs that the Trump administration is going to withdraw from the Open Skies Treaty, which allows the U.S. and Russia to observe one another's military installations through closely monitored overflights. So basically, they could run spy planes over each other to see, like, okay, are you building something here?
Checks and
building
balances.
Yeah, so that's what it is. And then there's also the Iranian situation. So the kind of breakdown of the multilateral pact that had been formed, the Iranian nuclear deal, which, who knows if Iran's actually going to form, or get nuclear weapons, but they could, and they have a lot of incentive to do so.
I'm less concerned about other countries actually nuking us or nuking each other than I am about, and I read this from a very reputable source, I forget which one, but there's 26 nuclear warheads that the U.S. has not recovered.
I did see that.
That's really worrisome.
Yeah, I've seen that around. I need to find some other sources to like verify how true it is, but I've seen some images around of that, which would be fascinating and
because
terrifying.
all you need is just one, and the wrong person's hands, and
wow, it could be very, very bad. But one of the other things that they put in here too is they mentioned climate change as part of this. So now instead of just worrying about nuclear Armageddon, they're also saying climate change is an existential threat, and that's why we need to move this clock to 100 seconds to midnight, is because they think climate change is such an existential threat that it warrants this situation to raise the alarm in the doomsday clock.
The reason why I brought the 26 nuclear warheads to the topic was simply because let's face it, our government does false flags, and if they were to turn around and let one off in Tehran and blame it on Israel, the whole area would just explode.
Well, that's a pretty big accusation to just throw out there, Sean. So
well, hey, prove me wrong.
Well, I can't, because it is just
it's a provocative statement.
Provocative, hypothetical conspiracy. So
hold on, I gotta adjust my tinfoil hat.
All right, good. Yeah, just adjust it off camera here.
Well.
And so I mean, the thing I don't like about this is that it's the climate change thing. I've kind of spoken about this before. Is that the climate change like existential crisis thing? Like you think climate change is real, that it's worth addressing, that it may be expensive to address, but I don't think it is an existential crisis for humanity. And I think that presenting it as such is usually just a justification for greater government control. And that's what I think is happening here, is that they're leveraging kind of the existential nature of what they perceive the climate crisis to be, to give further justification to greater government control over the economy, to reduce growth, to reduce greenhouse emissions, and to again control your behavior and what you're able to do and how you're able to move and all that type of stuff.
See, I believe in the climate control, but the effect that as far as the effect that we have an effect on the climate, but the over governing of the changes would be poor.
Yeah, and again, I think you can have a reasonable conversation among people who thinks that climate change is an issue worth addressing in one form or another, right? I think we can out-tech our way out of climate to change, right?
Right, exactly.
But and that's kind of my position on it. You've heard my technical optimism in the last couple of segments, but I think the same thing applies to this, and I've talked about it on this show before. Is again, I don't think that it's necessary to slam the brakes on the economy in order to address these issues. And I think that in the end, that would actually hurt a lot more people if you make it more difficult for people to rise out of poverty and to improve their lives and to find like efficiencies in the products and services that we have now. Then that's going to be a much bigger problem.
Yeah, I think you know, making corporations or companies be more environmental friendly, I think is kind of almost a win-win situation, because even if you're wrong, you're still being good for the economy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the ecology.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think we are coming up on a break. There's the music. I knew it. I was like, it's coming up soon. All right, so we'll be back for the last segment of Radio Free New York for Fake News Friday.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
Human trafficking is when someone is being forced, tricked, or coerced to engage in a sex trade or forced labor. If you're a kid and forced to sell sex, drugs, or work against your will, that's trafficking. You're not a criminal, and there is help available. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888 or text Be Free. Sponsored by the Livingston County Safe Harbors Human Trafficking Task Force.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve Sky and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
Okay, welcome back. You're listening to Radio Free New York. And we're going to try to get some of those mic issues adjusted for you. For those of you listening on the live streams, I know you have some issues. The radio seems to be working all right, but we're working on it. All right.
Growth pains.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. So with the... All right, Fake News Friday.
Fake News Friday.
Fake News Friday. What do we got? Yeah, Fake News Friday. Right. All right. So, first issue we want to talk about.
Go for
it. Let's talk about stargazing.
Yeah.
Does New York State require a stargazing permit for you to be able to just look up at the sky.
On state parks.
State parks, yeah. That's what I say. So I've seen this going around. Is New York State requires you to get this permit to look at anything. That's not quite the case, even though it seems like something that New York would do. A few people, I don't know if they're
tax you for looking.
Yeah, really, they tax you for just looking up at the sky. And you know, I looked at it, I was like, oh man, this is totally a thing, isn't it? But as it turns out, it's not quite that. It's still ridiculous,
you're not
but
gonna
it's
give me a
not quite
chance?
that. No, go ahead. You tell me about it. Yeah, you know about it.
I would have immediately said that this is fake, except it was posted by somebody I went to high school with.
Yeah. Well, the original one,
Yeah.
that's been going around.
Yeah. So I'm like, you got to be kidding.
All right, well, tell us what it actually is, Sean.
Basically, it gives you permission to be on state lands. In this case, on Long Island, this was a Suffolk County. So like Wildwood State Park, Connecticut Park, Fire Island. And it gives you permission to be there on the state park land as long as you're stargazing.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's like some kind of code for Netflix and chill or something, but
You know, I think it's one of those things where it's like it's more like a parking permit, right?
well,
it's
I don't
more
know.
like-
Back in my day, man, taking your girl down to the beach at night, man, that was the
Well,
thing
sure.
to do,
I mean,
man,
whatever we're gonna do. I mean, the point is it's supposed to be a permit to be able to like enter New York State land
Mhm.
after normal,
or at least be
hours.
there after
Yeah,
hours. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So be there after hours, so you can like put that in your dashboard, whatever. I mean, it's still kind of frustrating, but I get like the state parks need to make money, right? They need to
Mhm.
be. I would rather they be self-sustaining by charging things rather than taking it out on taxes. Like,
Right,
I'd rather
true,
have, like,
true.
and people get so grouchy with me about this, especially people on the left, but occasionally from the right too, where I'm like, I think parks should almost be like, like a market, right? It's like if there's a lot of people who want to go to these things, then you should charge something to be able to use it, and then that'll kind of balance it out and help pay for the park. Park
Mhm.
should be able to get private sponsors and cover their expenses, and the less that like I love going camping. I love using New York State property and New York State land to go camping and hiking and all that stuff, but I love when it's financially sustainable too.
Right. My question is like, when did this come about? And like, is there really that many people going to state parks to stargaze? That you can actually make money off of this?
Yeah, like I wonder if it's that like a bunch of people were going to the parks to stargaze after dark, or if it's more like there's a bunch of people who are going there to just kind of hang out and they want a reason to kick out those people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you need to get a permit to be here. Which I mean, even if you go during the day, you need a parking pass. Like I've gone to another state park in like park somewhere, and they're like, hey, where the heck's your parking pass? Like you can't be sitting here if you don't have a parking pass. I'm like, bro, my wife is going to get it right now. Like, chill out. I'm just
nice.
hanging out here with my dog. But yeah, no, they get real grumpy if you go in there and you're not.
Where are your papers? Your
Yeah.
papers are not in order. You are coming with me.
Yeah, but so there's like sort of an actual need for it. It's not quite as bad as it first initially sounded, but it's still I don't know, it's still a thing. New York State, man. All right.
I mean, they'll tax the air you breathe if they could figure out a way.
All right, so speaking of people who've been around forever, I have a meme up on the screen that Sean can see, but you can't see whether or not it's true. Alan Dershowitz, you know who that is?
I know the name.
Yeah, he's the guy defending Donald Trump right
Yes,
now. Right?
yes. Spiro Agnew's lawyer.
What? Oh,
During the Nixon.
Alan
impeachment.
Dershowitz? No, not quite.
Oh, I thought it was the same guy.
Well, it might be the same guy.
Oh, anyway.
But
Okay.
yeah, anyway. But he is the guy defending Donald Trump right now, and there's this like kind of meme that's been going around, that's been saying, I'm not happy. Richard Nixon's gang being tried by blacks and liberals in the District of Columbia, and it's attributed to Alan Dershowitz, who's again still active in politics because he's been around forever. And I saw that being shared by a few kind of lefties, and I'm like, oh, that seems like that's something that's made up or misattributed. Real news or fake news?
Okay, understanding being alive in the mindset of 1971, 72, I'd have to say, yeah, it's real, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it turns out that one is the correct attribution from that guy. He was saying that not Nixon himself, but his kind of co-conspirators should be tried in a different district, and he put it in a way that
couldn't possibly be any more racial and
no, it
biased.
sounds pretty bad the way he put it there. So that is true. I thought that might have been one of those things that progressives just made up to attack the Trump people.
Now, try to understand, man. You know, like back then, that's the way people talked. I mean, even though, you know, we had all already gone through the civil rights movement and everything, there were still people that just couldn't change their mindsets and the way they spoke, and it was very disturbing. And I'm glad, you know, it kind of has changed a lot since, you know, because you only hear kind of talk like that from radicals, you know,
from
or idiots, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't hear that from the common man anymore like you used to.
Yeah, this is a respectable lawyer, you know. So that's.
I don't think respectable and lawyer go together in the same sentence.
All right, but anywho, do you have something for us?
Sure. You know me, man. Florida man.
Okay.
All right.
This very.
Florida man threatens to conquer planet Earth with his army of turtles.
Fake news.
Back in April 2019 in Brevard County, Florida, a man yelling obscenities, calling himself a saint, and threatening to send his turtle army to destroy everyone has been arrested, according to an affidavit from the Indy Atlantic Police Department of Florida.
Yeah, there it is, man. You have to trick me with one of these one day. I got a Florida story.
Oh, I could easily just go Florida man next week and
right.
That's it, you know.
So is it raining iguanas right now in South Florida? Real news or fake news?
That's fake news.
Fake news? No, that's real news.
No, hold on. All right.
So raining iguanas. I'm being a bit dramatic in the presentation. But do you know what I'm talking about? You know what happens to iguanas when it gets below like 45 degrees?
No.
So they stop moving. They're because of cold-blooded animals.
Right.
There's been a cold spell in Florida right now.
That's right, yeah.
And it got so cold that what ends up happening to iguanas is they are unable to move, and they kind of like fall into a paralysis, and they just kind of fall asleep, and they'll fall out of trees. So a bunch of people are picking them up and eating them.
Oh, it's rain. Oh, rain.
So it is raining iguanas right now in Florida.
Now, you know my degree is in Earth and Space Sciences, and there has been record situations where you've had upwelling of air, like, you know, in a tornadic situation where it has gone over like swamplands, and literally thrown frogs miles.
Oh yeah.
And
That'll
so
happen.
yes, it would be raining frogs.
Yeah, it can rain frogs and fish and all that stuff. Yeah, so that'll happen.
Yeah.
But so it's not quite literally raining iguanas, but they are falling out of trees all over the place in Florida.
Now, see, if you had asked me this question in the hurricane season, I would have to say, ooh, maybe, you know, that could be a possibility.
Yep, so,
you know?
Yep, they're all doing it and they're selling it.
Uh-oh, look at the blade on the ground.
Yeah, poor little guys. They're so cold.
The little green popsicles.
Yeah. Okay. I know we got like 30 seconds left. Man, I had a good social media one for you, and I'm gonna have to save it for next week.
That's all right.
Yeah, maybe I'll probably Andrew will be back next week.
Andrew will be back next week. Real news or fake news?
That is real news.
That is real news.
Real news.
Ding,
He'll
ding,
be back.
ding.
He's back in the country, and he's gonna be back on Monday. So yeah, so he'll be back then, and yeah, I guess I'll save the social media one for Andrew.
I just want to thank everybody for enduring with us for the past 10 days.
Okay, and it looks like our computer locked up, so we don't have music. But so I guess I'm just gonna say goodbye. Will I think it's more drums there. We're on to the ending ones. All right, goodbye, guys.
Policy.
You're listening to the voice of liberty.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The computer froze. Take care, guys. Bye.